Thanks for coming tonight. Tonight's going to be one of those, I promise you, life-changing events. You have notes in front of you. Those notes are really important. We're going to talk about saliva testing. And you know, it's amazing how science finally kind of catches up to items that you've been talking about your whole life. And you know, I've worked helping people naturally for 30 years, and I think that some of the nuggets you're going to learn this evening are going to be life-changing for you. If you look at the graph that I have right there now, that graph is really important. And if you're watching me via the internet, I want you to look at the chart that we have there that you can download. You see what it says, and it's right here, everybody. I'm looking at this right here. I'm looking at this chart right here in the front of your notes. This is really significant for you. Steroid hormone synthesis pathways. You see what it says, cholesterol? It all starts with cholesterol. And then you see how cholesterol goes down and becomes pregnenolone. And I see pregnenolone becomes progesterone. Then or it can go to DHEA. And then progesterone goes over to aldosterone. I'm not trying to impress you with big words, but this is significant what this tells us. So aldosterone affects the kidneys, has a lot to do with minerals. Now do you see where progesterone becomes cortisol? Or cortisone? Now the other one here, the androstenedione, or dione, just like progesterone, you can also call that androgen. DHA becomes an androgen. You see how that goes down to become estrone, estradiol, and estriol, progesterone? You see all that happening there? Your body, it's really awesome how everything is interrelated. Now I want you to get this one thought here. You see where pregnenolone becomes DHEA? That DHA becomes the estrogen and progesterone in females and testosterone in men. But if you're under a lot of stress, instead of making DHEA, your body's going to make cortisol. So what happens to people, and this is, we could stop the whole half-hour health just with you understanding that. If you're under a lot of stress, your body's going to make cortisol. It's not going to make progesterone and estrogen in women. That's what I needed you to understand. And if you're a man, it's not going to make testosterone. So men can get andropause and women can get menopause. You can say, well, Dr. Bob, how do I know what I have? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. But I needed you to get it all with the panel itself. Okay, the panel is really, really significant. Okay, so turn it over to the female hormone panel. Now when you're looking at it, so we're looking at this section right here, that little box right here. When you're looking at that, and it has the follicular phase, and then over to the, it says luteal phase. Do you see that in that box? That's follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone is secreted from your brain. Now I'm not saying this to be silly, but this is a way I can tell if a person's brain is working or not. It's coming from your pituitary gland. Now this chart, what you're looking at, is also very important. If you look at the graph, there is two graph lines there. There's one where the pyramid goes higher in that dark box in the center. Do you see that right there? That's your estrogen level. And then you can see the next one is progesterone. Progesterone gets higher after the dark box. Now let me share something with you. Most of you watching me and are here tonight have too much estrogen in your body. If you have tender breasts and a heavy menstrual flow, it'll show up in a saliva test. The most common type of breast cancer is a breast cancer caused by estrogen. That's also really important for you to understand. So what I've been blessed to learn is if your liver is not functioning optimally, your liver can't break down the extra estrogen. So if you have tender breasts and a heavy menstrual flow in a female, or if you're a lady and you have a headache at the end of your menstrual cycle, it's usually due to too much estrogen not balanced by progesterone. Now here's another thought. Now just think about what I'm going to take with you. And I have a lot of this information also, what I'm going to share with you right now in my book, Dr. Bob, The Struggler's Guide to Balancing Female Hormones. Iodine is needed by your ovaries. Your ovaries make progesterone. So if your progesterone level is low at the back part of that box, and you have a menstrual headache, and if you have cold hands and cold feet, that's a sign to me that you might not have enough iodine in your body. Your thyroid gland could also be low. Are you kind of going with what I'm saying to you? I hope just a bit. So it's a big puzzle. Now, if you have too much estrogen in your body, the estrogen can throw off your liver from doing its job. And too much estrogen can stop thyroid hormone in your body. And I'm not trying to complicate it. I just want you to see how intricate this puzzle is. And everything is interrelated. So we could look at a chart just like this. So they usually take 11 specimens from a woman over a month time period. So every other day you're getting a specimen of saliva. So it's not just one time. You're taking it through your month. So we can map out. See, a lot of women, if you look at that center box, that's when you ovulate. Some women ovulate too soon. Some women ovulate at the end of their month. A woman can tell if they're ovulating or not because they usually have quite a bit of vaginal secretion. They have a little bit more mucus. Now that's not to say, that's kind of like the old rhythm system, how people used to use for birth control. You know, there's a lot of babies on the planet, the rhythm system didn't work, okay? Not that it didn't work, we missed today's. But that's how it's all determined. So most people today in our society have too much estrogen. Let me give you some body signals of too much estrogen. For a woman, it's tender breast, heavy menstrual flow. For a woman, it's also spider veins. It also can be varicose veins. It also can be hemorrhoids in both men and women. But here's something that you all might have, are cherry hemangiomas. You know what cherry hemangioma is? It's a little red bump that's on your skin. And that little red bump is usually due because your liver's not able to process the extra estrogen. So if a man has those, that's almost a sign that he has potential to have prostate issues. So we can, with 11 specimens spread out over a 12-month time or a 1-month time period, tell most females so much about what's going on inside of the body. So we have, you can see where it says detection of the luteal phase defect and hormonal imbalances. What's going on is that that's different parts of your body, different parts of the cycle. The follicle stimulating hormone is secreted from your brain. The luteal hormone is secreted from your brain also. So I thought that would be really beneficial for you. But we want to move on. We're going to move on to the adrenal stress index. Now this is also very significant because you can see in that box, and that's this box right here. This box right here we're talking about, the adrenal stress index. Your backup gland in your body is called the adrenal gland. And in this test we check out very many items. One of them is cortisol. Okay, cortisol is very significant. Cortisol will elevate when you have stress. And many of you have too much stress in your life day to day. When you have a lot of cortisol, cortisol will burn up muscle. If you're in a lot of stress, you know the best thing for you to do? Exercise. Walking. Because you're going to burn up the extra cortisol in your body. If you don't exercise and you have too much cortisol in your body, you end up having what I call the Humpty Dumpty body. All you have to do is go to any major food outlet store and you see all the Humpty Dumpty bodies walking around. I'm just teasing with you. A lot of them are on scooters. They have these big old bodies, bellies, and these little toothpick legs and toothpick arms. And you know why that's from? Because their body is burning all the muscle in their arms and their legs. From too much cortisol, cortisol stress. In America right now we have enormous stress going on. It's affecting people's health. It's because of the cortisol. So when you have too much cortisol in your body, your liver's affected, and your body has a harder time creating insulin. So you're going to be tired and you're going to be sluggish. And guess what you're going to be craving? Sweets. You know why? Because your body can't utilize the sweets that it has already. DHEA. Let's go back to that first chart. Page 1. DHEA. So DHEA is a part of the adrenal stress index. You see how important DHEA is? DHEA makes progesterone and estrogen inside of your body. So if you have a low DHEA on your adrenal stress index, I know that you're not making progesterone and estrogen in your body. That's also really, really important. Does that kind of make sense to you, I hope? So you can see how this whole thing is tying together. So turn back to that chart that we have on the adrenal stress index, okay? So then, after the DHEA, we have 7-hydroxyprogesterone. That's a big term. We're looking for your progesterone levels inside of your body. Ladies, if you feel bloated at the end of your menstrual cycle, that bloating can come from the fact you might not have enough progesterone inside of your body. Okay, so you know what?